the first month, 100% of your revenue, and then you had some direct costs, and usually it's going to be materials and labor of 50%, and your gross profit is producing 50%. So that means 50% of all the revenue you produce for this month was absorbed by your direct costs. And then we go, same as we did before, we kind of begin to draw out the margins or percentages of our overhead. We could say, in this case, this business is expending advertising, 5% of our total revenue and sales expended in marketing and advertising, which I wouldn't be surprised for some of you, depending on your business, that's going to probably be the number you're going to be expending. For each industry, it's a little different, of course. Salaries and wages, 10% for general administration. Insurance, 5%. Rent, 5% is probably pretty low in Southern California if you're renting, but just as an example. Other, and then obviously we have our total general administrative percentage is 30% in this case. So 30% of all the total revenue was absorbed by your general administrative expenses. Keep in mind, this business will probably be the same on average through the 12 months, depending on what kind of business it is and what kind of seasonality it may have. A retail business will have their months of October, November, December are going to be very, very different. But it's important to begin to understand this so we could manage these expenditures, and we could even predict certain results from our business activity and begin to forecast and budget, which is we're going to talk a lot more about in the loan packaging, because they're going to want us to do a forecast. So we're going to need to know our numbers. So I know I'm trying not to go too fast, but I know I have a lot to cover here. But again, top line, 20,000, bottom line, 4,000. And if we look at the percentages, and if you want to ask yourself, you want to ask me, is 20% a good net income percentage for a business? And every industry is a little different. So that's the kind of things we could begin to benchmark and look at other businesses within our industry and compare where we're at. If this is a engineering company, 20% may be a little low. If it is a restaurant, it's probably pretty high, very strong. And every industry is a little different, but we could begin to benchmark our businesses and compare ourselves to the marketplace. And this becomes a very important management tool, because if we're not producing what the benchmarks are, then why aren't we? What do we need to look at? Then you begin to look at your direct costs. You begin to manage those. You begin to manage your overhead and your overhead expenditures. And then you could then really, really manage your business to be able to produce the net income that you have set your goals to. And so that's why getting to the bottom line is such an important number. Also, in transitioning, why net income of $4,000, having positive income is so important, is because this is the number that the bankers are going to look at to see if your particular business, in this case, this particular example, does this business have capacity to pay for a loan? In this case, because we're doing a cash basis, keeping it real simple, it's producing $4,000. And if you have to ask all of you here, and if let's say you wanted to take out a loan for $50,000, which is going to be about, so let's just pretend that's going to be $1,000 a month. Can this business meet that $1,000 obligation as it's currently running? Let's assume that this is the way it's running every month. The answer would be yes, because that loan of $1,000 is being met by the $4,000 cash flow. In this case, it's covering the $1,000, and even more so. You have, even after paying the loan, it would be 4,000 minus 1, and you still have positive net income of 3,000. So just kind of look at it that cash flow line. So now that business has capacity, and then at least you'll have cash flow. You're able to grow your business, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. All right, so getting to that bottom line and understanding it and managing those numbers, Sometimes the lenders will ask questions. They're going to compare your business to, in some cases, they'll run benchmark numbers to other businesses in the area. And sometimes they'll have internal numbers. Sometimes they'll have numbers produced by organizations that do benchmarking for a living. So now, as you're knowing your bottom line, and we'll keep using the case that we have, was a very successful business that is producing $4,000 a month. And so that is a very positive thing. We want to continue to do that month over month, or at least over a quarter, or over the year, depending on the seasonality of your business. Each business is very, very different. I was trying to talk in a very general terms because I want to include all the industries that may be participating on the presentation. So as we continue to the beginning of what is going to permit us to say that we could take on a particular loan and pay it as from our positive income, in this case, in this example, then we want to talk a little bit about knowing your bottom line, which we just went over, common ways to fund a business, and we're going to cover a few of them, and then obviously preparing my loan package or preparing my investor package. There's a lot of commonalities between that. And then lastly, I'll cover some of the assistance out there that's helpful for all of us, the small business people. So what's the more common ways to fund your business? We just kind of covered that in the last few slides. It's coming from your company cash flow. The company cash flow then is reinvested, and you're able to, again, borrow and buy that new equipment, reinvest that in your marketing, reinvest that in your talent force, your labor force, and your management, and hiring maybe more salespeople or whatever that may be. So that's the one way to do it. Other way is how people do fund their companies, obviously from savings. Friends is another one. Family is really the other big one that I see a lot. And sometimes it's friend. And one of the other big ones was home equity, if we have access to home equity. And there are other ways as well. I mean, there's other alternative types of financing, which we're not going to get deeply into. Things like crowd financing. And I know Long Beach has a particular program out there for, I'm sure you've heard about it. I'm not going to talk about it, so I'm not an expert in that area, but there's crowd financing, and there's other type of crowd financing alternative ways to fund your business as well. So as we're preparing our investor package or loan package, some of the things we do need to think about, there's two big sections. There's the business section, which is what you're going to prepare for your business, and then there's the you section. That's the personal part. So let's cover some of the business items that you're going to need. Right now, you're preparing and developing a plan for growth, a plan for the business expansion or business expansion, whatever you may be working on today, how to grow your business. Have something in writing. It doesn't have to be 20 pages. It could be 1 or 2 pages, whatever is clear to the reader that defines what your business is, what you're doing, how you're pricing your product or services, what the marketplace you're in, and what you need the funding for. Those are kind of the 5 basic components of a business plan for a loan, and they have to be really you have to be able to articulate and explain all that where anybody could read it and understand it, in particular a lender. The second bullet point is developing a 24-month forecast. Whether you're in business now or starting a business, this has become a mandatory thing by most lenders. They want you to go through the exercise to develop a 24-month forecast that is on a month-to-month basis. That's why I was showing that profit and loss by 1 month, not by the annual, because I want you to begin to think about how I need to be able to develop where I'm going to be in my business month by month for the next 24 months. What my revenue is going to be, what my direct costs are going to be, what kind of gross profit it's going to produce, what kind of general administrative expenses is my business going to have, and what is the results from that in my net income or my bottom line month by month. That is quite an exercise. There are templates out there. Don't feel you have to start from scratch. There's a lot of resources out there. We could talk about that at the end or in the Q&A. In that plan, be specific on what you need, on what funds, your funds requests. The wrong answer is, I want to borrow as much as I can. That is, don't ever say that. Please do not. Just erase that out of your lexicon. Okay. Do you never want to say that? You want to say, I need $32,425 because I'm buying this piece of equipment for my business, or I need 24,000, just be specific. The more specific, if you have quotes from specific vendors, any information, maybe you're building out another section in your business, maybe another section in your restaurant or your retail store, really have some concrete quotes and numbers for them that you've done the homework. Be specific. Be clear how you're going to use those funds, and how you're going to deploy them and manage them in your business. That is so important. And then also within this plan and forecast, what are you putting? What's your capital infusion? What have you put in the business? They really want to know that you also have a lot of time. Obviously, you have a lot of time and a lot of commitment, and also what kind of funding have you put into the business? That's really important. They want to know that. One of the things you'll see now, even though we're out of the COVID time, we're post-COVID, there may be a questionnaire, and they're going to ask, if there is an event like COVID, do you have a preparation plan? How is your business going to function if we find ourselves in that situation? So that's something now that whether it's a disaster plan or in the past that were required by large companies, you're going to have a few questions to answer about how would your business deal with a situation like COVID. Just really one or two questions. They're not, you don't have to write essays about them. Just be able to answer how you're going to be able to, how your business is going to be able to continue to do business in a situation. They don't say like COVID, they say like COVID. Okay. And then lastly is, you got to refine and practice your financial pitch. You're going to have to present, not the lenders are going to ask some questions about what you provide them in the application, financial statements, and all the documentation they're going to request. So you're going to have to be able to answer those questions. You're going to have to sometimes practice a pitch. Maybe that's helpful, or at least be able to, what are some of the questions they will ask? That's something that's really important that you need to be aware of. So that's kind of more of the process. So that's preparation, what you're going to need for the business information. Now, the next step is then, what kind of information that you're going to need from you, right? I think some of the things that you're going to have to be aware of is you're going to have to produce, well, there's forms that you're going to fill out. They kind of help you out. Is a personal financial statement for yourself and your spouse. What is a personal financial statement? Think of it as a balance sheet where you're going to write in there your assets, how much cash you have in your bank accounts, any real estate you may own, any other valuables that go on your that you own, that you and your family own. And then on the other side of the equation then is any liabilities outstanding. Do you have a credit card, personal credit card, maybe, possibly, maybe a car loan, maybe a student loan that should go in there. Anything that's going to come up in your credit, you're going to have to list that. And they're looking for you to make sure that you provide all that too. So that's part of the character part of the loan process. So that personal financial statement, there's already a form created by SBA. We just fill it out and we provide that to the lender. You're going to have to, they're going to ask about other income or any other outside income outside of the business you may have. It could be, maybe you have a pension, maybe you've retired, maybe you're a veteran, you're receiving a veteran, some veteran benefits on a monthly basis. Maybe you have a rental property, or you rent your back house or something like that. All of that really is very, very important. And then also tax returns. They're going to request your personal tax returns. Make sure you have those. Don't wait till the last day to get those done. Get them done, your business tax returns early as possible. Get your personal tax return early, because they're going to request that. And in many cases, they won't even move your file unless you have all of that documentation. So you don't want to be waiting for them to get done. Just get them done as early as possible. Remember, you're doing your financial statements on a monthly basis. You should be able to produce a business tax return and a personal tax return, not on the last day when it's due, but early on in the year. That's something that we all have to work on. More things about your personal is, again, they're going to ask for your personal credit. Any business loan now is going to require your personal credit. Keep track of your personal credit. Be aware of what you have. There's a website, I think it's called freecreditreport.com. You can take a look at that, give you a perspective of where you're at. That is so important, because the last thing we want to find out something that's in our credit that's not even ours. That's a good time to fix it before you go talk to any lender or anybody at that point. So keep track of that. Be conscious of your credit as well. And then know what kind of collateral you may or may not have. Not all loans require collateral. Some do, but just be aware that it might be necessary. Just be aware of that. Okay, as far as assistance, there's a lot of resources. I mean, Long Beach has done really an incredible job as far as resources, and I'm sure Vivian's and the team have shared a lot of those. So I hope I'm not repeating. I don't want to stay too much on this topic, but small business development centers or SCORE, local. The Long Beach Economic Development Department has an incredible. It's phenomenal as far as resources, and your workforce development centers are another great resource. I know Vivian has chaired one of the workforce development centers locally. And then programs like this program, and there are other services out there that may be at no cost, or could provide resources, or that could be helpful for analyzing your business, looking at your profit and loss, getting to your bottom line, knowing what your bottom line is, knowing the capacity of your business, and then going into, possibly if needed, ask for funding and be able to expand your business, acquire new equipment or wherever that may be, maybe hire new staff, hire new salespeople. That's going to lead to the expansion and growth of your business. And it's really about preparation and working with other resources as well. And I think that's going to be just want to give you my email address. If you we'll put in the chat as well, you can copy it. If you have any questions, or specific questions related to your business, and we could always be in contact after as a resource. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Max. That was, as you may have heard in his voices, he really is an expert in this area of how to finance, get access to capital for businesses, but also he really has worked with so many businesses. So if you have a particular question, this would be a great time to ask it. Also, we have a couple of sessions that we have available to, if you have something specific with your business, for you to speak with Max. So I think this is probably a good time too, that we can go around, and each of you can share just your name, the name of your business and what products and services, and then raise the hand if you would like to ask Max a question. Why don't we start with you, Vanessa? Maybe not. How about Jocelyn? Would you like to share anything about your business?
Hi, my name is Jocelyn. Last name is Howard, of Howard Coaching and Consulting. You taught me something the last session. I was saying too much, so we specialize in advancing through trajectory of success.
Good for you, Jocelyn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then the next person is D&D Feldman. D&D Feldman. Oh, we can't hear you.
You want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you?
Of course, invariably, someone has to do that during a Zoom call, of course, right? Hi everyone, I'm Dina Feldman and I'm the owner of a shared food facility in Long Beach. Our purpose is to provide a space where small food entrepreneurs can start their food businesses.
Well, very good. Okay. And then Marcus Hobbs.
Hey, nonprofits. I don't know if I would call it a business, but I guess it is run like a business.
It is a business.
Yeah.
Just starting out, so this is some useful information as I prepare to write grants to receive more funding. As of right now, everything is grassroots, so this information is really helpful. Just made a grant today, and it would be my largest grant yet. So fingers crossed. And a lot of information that you spoke about and regarding being very detailed was helpful in writing this grant because I didn't realize how detailed you really had to be. Um, like the narrative is so much important, even when it comes to how you want to spend the money, why you want to spend the money that way. So you just complimented what I went through today.
And Vivian's been has worked with a lot of grants, and a grant will request what's the budget, how are you going to expend each dollar, and then how you're going to deploy the dollars, right? And sometimes even specifically on a monthly basis, maybe just annual. I mean, annual would be a little easier, but there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and it works just like a similar to a business forecast. Yes.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I would add to that is I want to just echo what Max said. Nonprofits are run like businesses. They just have a different tax status, right? You have a board that you have to report to, but you still have to fund the financial side and the building of the organization side. Got to do so many of the same things that small business owners do. So glad you're here. Glad you're
And they're
here.
great jobs,
Yeah.
and incredible impact in the community.
Okay, so this is an open session for questions. You might be thinking through like, how does this pertain to your business? And so, and please, it's interesting as I think what we shared with you before is, you learn from one another. We, Max and I have worked with many business owners that our peer-to-peer learning model is about everybody learning together. So all questions are good questions.
We hear from Emily.
Oh, that's Emily's
That's an autopilot. It's recording.
Oh, that's an autopilot. Okay, got it. I didn't know what that was.
We did hear from Vanessa, but she might be just listening in for the recording. That might be it.
I actually did have a question, and it might be, well, yeah, I get confused when I'm doing like my spread. First of all, it's not my cup of tea, and I haven't hired anyone for it, but when I'm doing the spreadsheet, I'm trying to figure out the difference between, because I hear a lot of people saying like, are you paying yourself? And I'm like, well, my business is making money and I get to keep it. I'm like, I'm not sophisticated enough to understand the difference. And probably, I'm going to be completely honest, probably out of laziness or just not wanting to deal with it. Like, I'm not adding another line item and then paying myself and then doing all the things. Luckily, we've been in the black for several years now and haven't had to pull any funding. So it's probably just a function of motivation, but I would like to understand the difference as I navigate, maybe expanding and then wanting to get capital to expand, as to how that works, as that kind of confuses me.
Oh,
I'm also easily confused.
okay. So I think it begins kind of, the conversation begins is how your business is structured, right? Most, not all, but most small businesses start off as sole proprietors, right? You're running your business. You file your personal tax return, and within your personal tax return, you have they call it a Schedule C. Probably if you prepare that, then you're a sole proprietor. Yes, you have your revenue, just like we went through the process, your direct costs, all your administrative costs, and you have a profit, and that profit, therefore, that's your, it's not really called a salary in that case because it's not like a payroll check, but yeah, those profits you're using, those are your profits, and you pay tax on those profits, right? So and then the next step is if you're a corporation, now you're structured legally a little different, and it functions a little different, where most people, not all people, probably in early stages, they're not paying themselves a W-2 or a payroll check, similar to if you go work somewhere else. But they do some type of distribution similar to the Schedule C. So as your company, as you structure it a different way, then you begin to have to do a payroll check, a W-2 check. So it really depends what stage you're at, and what's the best fit for that particular business, and what's the best fit for you and your family. I think Vanessa posted something. Okay, Vanessa wrote, I think she's having some computer glitches. And then she wrote it. I don't know if everybody could read the chat, but I'll read it out loud that way. Um, I use Excel to keep track of everything for my profit and loss. However, I'm sure I am missing steps, probably tracking, making enough revenue to even pay myself, put back into the business other than supplies, rent, and insurance. Yeah, yeah. Excel begins the starting point for a lot of smaller businesses. As you're able to move more into software like QuickBooks, I mean, or similar. I'm not promoting QuickBooks, but or something similar. Like I think there's Zero. There's a few other ones that are very, very reasonable. They're able to produce that profit and loss statement that we discussed earlier. But if you're doing that, yeah, you could produce a profit and loss statement. I could provide you some templates that'll help you with that as well, and assist you or help anybody in any way regarding that.
So Max, I just
Jocelyn
wanted
has her
to,
hand up.
oh, go ahead. No, you go.
Yeah, so just that quick question, aside from the templates, which would be super helpful, the profit loss statement templates, do you have any recommendations when it comes to, okay, we need to prepare for filing taxes? I know you mentioned, personal taxes and business taxes. Do you have any recommendations for accounting or accountants, CPAs, or, who should we go to talk about, how do we take our tracking system and start doing taxes and all that stuff?
Well, I think the first step is kind of what most people do. They go to a bookkeeper, at least because they don't have time, right? You're running your business, right? You're really good at what you do, really good at your craft, your expertise, right? And sometimes people say, I don't have time to deal with putting my profit and loss statement. So I would suggest at least start with a bookkeeper. The pricing is a little lower, and then maybe at least you're able to get that report once a month. And then as your business continues to grow, again, depending how big your business is and your budget is, right? But I'm thinking if you want to maintain your costs very low, at least there's probably a lot of local bookkeepers in Long Beach that could be very helpful and help you produce those reports. But also you have to look at it, and you have to ask the questions and how they do things, and really keep track of it as well. You got to be engaged. That's what I'm trying to say, and use it as a tool.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
And I say bookkeeper only because I'm thinking of something, maintaining just not creating this budget item on our list of things, because we plan plenty of things we have, because I'd rather you spend that on your sales and marketing side.
So bookkeeper before an accountant.
Some of them are accountants. There's some that are bookkeepers. Again, that's an interchangeable term sometimes. Just find one that's really reasonably priced. That's what I'm concerned about.
Okay, thank you for that.
I think, yeah, Vanessa, yeah, we could yeah, they're gonna provide the presentation, right, Vivian? She's asking if we're going to provide a presentation. Yes, absolutely. Also, yeah, some of the templates, depending, Vanessa, can you type in there what kind of business you have so I could kind of understand? It sounds like it's service business.
Yeah, there will be an email that'll go out and it'll have all the slides from this presentation
Mhm.
to everyone who's on the call.
Yeah, and also one of the things that I could be very helpful in is in that forecasting, really budgeting where you're going to be in the next 20, maybe you don't have to do 24 months, at least where am I now, where I want to be at the end of the year, this year 23, where I want to be in 2024. It it's not an easy exercise, right? But as we begin to but that feedback, right? Just what you're doing with when you're working with other advisors or other people, that feedback. Oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, wow, really? It's going to go up that much? Yeah, insurance is going up tremendously. You're looking at 5-10% escalation every year, and in the business world too. So if you have insurances and then because we work with so many other businesses, there's certain formulas that certain percentages that are key to your business, and we could be very helpful from that experience as well.
So Max, she said that she has a beauty salon. So it sounds like she has product and she has services.
Okay, great. Yeah, beauty salon. Some of the best ones you're gonna see that on the retail side. There, if you're really, really good on the retail side, you could be doing about 20% just on retail, 80% on services. So that was the first thing I would ask if I was sitting down with you. What are the percentages between this and that? And then how do we increase the retail side? Because that doesn't require a lot of labor, right? But and then do we commission people to sell that product? Because that's a very lucrative way to bring in cash flow and then also managing that inventory. And then on the labor side, obviously, there's a lot of key things that for that particular type of business that I've seen. A lot of metrics and measurements that could be used for that type of business. Yeah.
So I know that Joey needs to do, we still have about 5 minutes, but what I'd like for you to do is if you would like to spend like a personalized session, like 30 minutes with Max, then put your name and email address in the chat and we'll take that down and we will schedule that time. There's other things that we can do with office hours too. So we just want to make sure that you get a chance to have him either look at some of your financial information or get a chance to ask him some questions that are very industry specific
Yeah,
for you.
and there may be some more personal items that you want to ask, that one-on-one questions that are. Is it okay if I type in my email address in the chat? That way, if you could copy it.
Yeah, and I think Max, you have it on the presentation.
Yes.
And Max, Max does advising. He's going to do a couple of hours advising through our LBCEI program, CEO Forum program, but also, Max, why don't you share more about the SBDC services?
Okay, fantastic. Again, I didn't want to talk too much about the systems part, but locally here in Long Beach, and we do have Long Beach, based out of Long Beach, Small Business Development Center. We're funded by Small Business Administration and other local agencies. In this case, Long Beach City College happens to be that local agency. We provide at no cost business advice to entrepreneurs, whether you're starting your business or you are in business. And a lot of particular areas. I focus more, just again, as an advisor, I go to my strengths, right? So former CPA, I kind of focus more on accounting, the finance part, and loan packaging. If you're going to ask me about marketing and social media, I'm not your person, but there are other people who have that particular expertise, right? I just that's my weakest area. I would say in business that would be my weakest, and my strength would be here. And then but there are other resources that may be available. I know there's other webinars. The one webinar that I watched that I really enjoyed was Instagram and how it has 4 4 channels to be able to communicate to your potential clients. I never knew that. I mean, again, you guys will know more about that than I would ever. But you learn something, and you're aware of it, and then. But there are other resources beside that. We do have some people who are operational expertise and other expertise in certain areas, and other industries. And in addition to that, we do have one person who used to be a leasing agent for one of the largest malls. I, when I have a SBDC client, I work with, if my client is seeking, one of my SBDC clients is seeking a lease or looking into a lease, I look at it, and then someone who really knows leases to look at it, to give you just some heads up, or some, maybe a list of questions you should ask or be aware of when you're looking at a lease. If maybe you're down the road or you're going to renew your lease, want to take a look at that, that's a good opportunity. I'm just giving little snippets of little items, but there's obviously a lot of other things, and that other expertise we may have in-house that could be helpful, and they're at no cost, which is wonderful. And that's one of the services, is again, a wonderful resource. There are and there are a lot of other resources as well, but that's the one I'm more familiar with. Vivian, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think, thanks, Max. Max is absolutely right. Is the small business development centers, we have a really strong network here in the city of Long Beach with the business experts. Max is one of them. And so it is a no cost, to the business owners. You sign up as being a client of them, and then you can go and get advisory services. What I was also talking about is, we did ask Max if he would spend a little bit of time with each one of the people who were on the seminar. So I do have your email addresses for Jocelyn, Vanessa, and Marcus, who said they were interested, and I'll make sure Max gets those so he can, go and talk to you about some of the specific, maybe more confidential personal questions about your financial statements. But you've got the right person for that.
Also, real quick, sorry, Vivian,
Sure.
for Marcus, nonprofits could be serviced to the Small Business Development Center. That was a change the Small Business Administration made about 3 years ago. Nonprofits are generators of jobs and impact in the community, and Small Business Administration changed their mind on that, and that they could be serviced by the Small Business Administration at no cost as well. So just a quick note on that.
Okay, that sounds really good. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, and we would like to get the survey to you. So Joey, are you going to initiate that survey? And then if
Yes.
anybody can complete that before we drop off, then otherwise we will also mail it to everyone. So it's really quick. All you have to do is type in some of your answers here. And it'll help to advise us. The other thing to keep in mind is, Max mentioned social media. The next session we do is on marketing. It will be with Lizette Flores. She will talk about marketing plans. The session after that, we have 2 sessions with social media, because the last time we did our CEO forum, it was really like so much information and so many people wanted to hear it. And so we have 2 sessions. And Max, Lori Andy is doing she's one of our Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses graduates. She will be presenting those 2 sessions.
I worked with Lori. Yes, I remember that. It's been quite a while.
Yeah. I think you were a business advisor. Okay.
Can everyone see the poll?
Yeah, can you see the poll? All you do is click on the boxes and then type your information in, and then you can submit it. And then, Joey, I don't know if you get it when it finishes the recording, if you can download the chat, because that's how we somewhat take our attendance, and it's only
again.
there's some people on here that have been on for both sessions, so they're moving towards their 6 sessions. with the certificate.
Yeah, or I recorded who came on board.
Okay, that sounds good.
So reach out to me if you guys have questions, want to set up an appointment. I'll provide you my calendar so you can see when I'm available, and then we'll make an appointment through there.
Thank you so much.
Okay, does anyone still need more time to finish their poll?
Like 2 minutes.
Okay, and we're not rushing you, but I guess as you finish them, you could probably drop off. I want to just thank everyone for being here. You know, you're really investing in yourself and learning, and you will grow your business. we want to make sure you grow your business. Knowledge is powerful, so.
Okay. All right, Vivian, Joey, Jocelyn, Marcus. I gotta get going here. I gotta
Okay,
4 o'clock coming up. So, but thank you
okay,
so much for having me. And it's been an honor to be part of this group. And I look forward to working together with everybody, some capacity.
thank you so much, Max. We
Yes, thank you,
appreciate
Max, and thank you, Jocelyn and Marcus, for staying on till the very end here. Vivian, thank you as well. We've got 100% participation with the two that are here, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll.
Okay,
And
okay, that sounds good.
okay, and we will see everyone again. Well, we'll see you again next time, Vivian.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, Joey. Maybe I'll see you again.
All
Okay.
right.
Good, everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week, okay? Thank you, Joey.
You're welcome.
Okay, you have a good day now.